what is Kanan's master name? Dilpa Baloba?
Dua
something like
Lipa.
In Force Awakens, doesn't he? Isn't Finn like putting?
I don't watch those movies, bro. I don't even know.
Can't wait
I don't
for
know what
those.
you're talking about.
All right, guys. Welcome to Duel of the Fans. This is a part 2 to episode 6 where we cover our thoughts on Revenge of the Sith. So if you haven't seen that one, go check that out and come back to this video. Link will be in the description. Hope you enjoy. Make sure you hit that like button, share it with your friends, comment your thoughts, and subscribe so you're entered to win a battle grade lightsaber for yourself. So we've covered Mace Windu and Palpatine's fight and the death of Sassy Tin, Kit Fisto, and Egan Kular.
Yes. It's not.
That was a crazy fight. We had some theories there. You liked my theories, didn't you?
I absolutely love them. I still actually, I caught myself thinking about that scene that we thought about the other day, and kind of showing that yell, the freeze, the launch, the speed, and like that little thing could have just been so neat. So we had some really good points on that. But we've got a lot to cover here now.
This is where the fun begins.
It's for the first time seeing Anakin come in and disarm Windu, like we know Anakin's turning to Vader, but like that kind of how he turned so fast.
Well, like we talked about, it was the choice. Like it's Palpatine or it's the Council, and at that moment, the Council wasn't Obi-Wan. The Council was Mace Windu, who he already did not like very much. So
and wasn't liked by. And it was like very, absolutely.
The choice was kind of an easy one when put in that predicament.
Yeah.
Versus, say, Kenobi coming in and...
different story.
That's a totally different... We've got to dive into fan theories just one of these times and just like do a whole podcast on like a what if and break it down and then maybe make a video out of it and animate it or something. I think that'd be super cool.
I bet we could find some people out there.
Because I've got a couple good ones in mind, like that one right there. What if Kenobi was there instead of Mace?
Yeah.
And another one that's I've wanted so bad for so long is what if Anakin left the Order with Ahsoka in the Clone Wars?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Balin. You can kind of the Balin and Shin kind of path, or like they become these mercenary.
Exactly.
That's really neat.
But like I said, now we're getting into the juicy stuff.
So, big reveal: Anakin becomes Lord Vader. So this is his transition. So he's now become like Dark Lord of the Sith. So, like Dooku was Lord Tyrannus.
Darth Tyrannus.
He was Darth Tyrannus. Wasn't he a Lord as well at some point?
Well, he was a Count.
Okay, the Count was from his previous life. Kind of that. So Vader becomes this Lord Vader of the.
It's weird though because like we all know him as Lord Vader at this point, but like Palpatine calls him Darth Vader when he knights him. He says, "You'll henceforth be known as Darth Vader."
Does he?
He does. Yeah.
I thought he said Lord Vader.
No, he says Darth Vader there.
Okay, he says Darth Vader there, but then does he say Lord Vader when he's going to the temple?
I think so. Yeah. Like right after that, I think.
Okay, so that's how it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, you're right. That scene is amazing.
Yeah.
The March upon the Temple.
Oh, dude. That's one of... I think, like, a lot of different movies and stuff have shots where, like, it could make a perfect poster and stuff. That shot right there of Anakin at the top of the stairs with all the 501st walking behind him and the wide shot with the temple, like...
Did they ever use that in any advertising?
Not that I can remember.
Because that even, like, I don't remember... I remember the trailer at the time. It was during a Super Bowl. It was very prominent. Like you obviously saw Anakin, Obi-Wan fighting.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be wrong, but like maybe just like images and like shots like that would have been much
like
greater.
A montage.
Yeah, because from the top down you can't see it's Anakin. You just see it's this.
True.
Which you see this like Jedi that you can speculate. And this 504 first moving in behind, and you can assume what it is. And
at that time, you don't know the 501st is Anakin's either.
So it's just a military unit that's identifiable in the this Star Wars world.
So immediately after the fight goes down, Palpatine calls Order 66. That's when we see all of the Jedi Masters that we've grown to know over the past 2 movies get slaughtered, right?
So even if we hadn't watched Extended Universe, we've seen enough of these characters to be like, this has an impact.
And some of them don't even get their lightsabers out. That used to bug me so much. Ayla Secura doesn't even get her lightsaber out. She like, and then boom, gets shot down by her whole team, and like.
But is that part of that like that hubris that like she just wasn't expecting it? She was just blind to it, like almost ignorant.
Yeah, but she's also a Jedi Master.
I think we may have talked about this a little bit more in part 1. It's if the clones don't have the inhibitor chips, if it's just these troops that have turned, yeah, I think it would have like really surprised the Jedi because it's like these beings that they fought beside, they think they've known for these last few years during the Clone Wars, they know nothing about. Like,
and like that'd be okay if none of the other Jedi got their sabers out.
Well,
but every other Jedi had a reaction other than her.
It's situational though, because like Ki-Adi-Mundi is leading this charge across the bridge, and those Marines just stop shy, and he's like, "What are you stopping for?" Like he's not even thinking like, "Hey, they're shooting at me." It's like, "Why are you stopping? We have to keep going." Like he's so focused on that. He does start to deflect. He does.
He does.
He does
because
he's prepared. Like he was charging into combat.
So who all do we see die? We see Plo Koon die in the ship.
Yeah. Which okay. So I had a weird connection to Plo Koon as the video game that came out PS1 era Jedi Power Battles.
Yeah.
So it was like there was the Phantom Menace game and Power Battles. You could play as Plo Koon, and he had a yellow lightsaber.
Yep.
And that I think it was one of the first times that like we got to use something like that in a game.
Did you ever play like Academy and Outcast?
Yes.
And they had the Keldor as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I always pick Keldor. Yeah. I think they're such a cool looking character. Or alien model, and then there's swap out face plates and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And, oh man. For a game that was made in like what, the late 90s, early 2000s? Crazy.
Yes. So I should have said maybe like this was like first time in like a more mainstream era. Because like those games, like, I mean, not a lot of people had PCs back in the day to play those. I mean, like I said, TIE Fighter was one of my first games, and like that's such a weird, abstract like thing to play on. Like if you play that game now, it's bad.
It's rough.
Well, it like you're just
yeah.
Especially if you play X-Wing. I think the first X-Wing's the first one. TIE Fighter is a sequel. X-Wing is very basic, but there's this level of Star Wars to it that you still feel.
Yeah. It's like that old pod racer game in the arcade.
Yeah.
Remember those?
So these connections that we have to this stuff builds our love for it. So I mean, we hadn't seen Plo Koon do very much. He was in the Battle of Geonosis briefly, and like we hadn't really seen any. Yeah, he was probably in background shots, but like there wasn't a lot of action.
We didn't get any main shots of Plo Koon doing anything.
So then to play this game, and like he's got a yellow lightsaber, and he's cool, and he's got these like a bit like he had like the Force judgment.
Yeah,
I think. So like a lightning. So there was really cool elements. So like seeing him, and then like you're like, cool, he's in this movie, and then he just gets shot down.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that like that's in a situation where the Jedi couldn't use their power. Like he's flying a ship. He's like not.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, he's set to what the ship does. You know what I mean? He's not able to force jump to the side or force like.
He's also no Anakin either. Like
absolutely.
In that ship, right? Like
we have to remember that a lot of these Jedi were not soldiers. They were scholars at the time. There had been no war, so like any skills they have were like, yeah, they were probably in some some crazy situations, but not like full on galactic warfare.
Yeah, it was all like what's the term I'm looking for? It's like not. It's like practical until it gets put into effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like. It's like when you're in school and the Karate Kid's like beat everyone up, and then the little guy beats up the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Because it's like not practical in
real life. Because the kid's not fighting karate. Yeah,
exactly.
He's doing stuff the Karate Kid hasn't prepared for. So that's the way I see Plo Koon's death. But just kind of like wish you'd seen more of him. But like, I guess
then we get the Clone Wars and stuff.
Yeah, which then maybe you see too much of him. Still getting a lightsaber. I don't think the voice was terrible in Clone Wars, but like I kind of envisioned him talking much differently.
Didn't like the voice.
Do you know what I mean? Like
didn't like the voice.
Okay, good.
I had this action figure of Plo Koon when I was a kid. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it up. It's got like you'd put the lightsaber here, and it had two blades that came out along the side. So they'd come like one on the top of the hand and one on the bottom of the hand. And then you could also put one in his hand regularly, so you could have like 3 sabers on one arm.
I think yes, yeah.
You remember that figure? No idea what it's from. All the sabers were blue.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Ki-Adi-Mundi goes down like a chump. They all go down like chumps. It sucks.
So who else do we see die? We see
Aayla Secura, Ki-Adi-Mundi,
Adi Gallia. She's on the speeder bike.
Yes.
Same thing.
You're right. Yep.
So like they slow down. She doesn't think anything of it. Like
boom, boom.
Yeah, it's instant. And you kind of like, I've always, that footage is weird because you see a lot of stuff tumbling and you're like, is some of that her body? Like, is that like
when it all goes flying?
Yeah, you're like, is that part of her? Is that part of the speeder? That was, interesting. Who else do we see? We see obviously the attempt on Yoda, and he instantly just beheads two people.
We were talking. What do you think the Wookiees thought at that point? They had no idea, right? They're chilling with these guys, and then boom, their heads are gone.
Is it one of those things where even like maybe the Wookiees were uncomfortable with the clones?
Maybe, but we never saw.
We never saw that, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there could have been just
they're fighting side by side pretty good.
Well, hey, when you're being slaughtered and someone comes to your aid, like you're probably gonna.
It's also weird that Wookiees would be scared of anything. You know what I mean? It's like you'd almost think like a bear. A bear's probably not scared of anything.
But I think it's just like the we talk about the droids. It's like an overwhelming thing where it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, they could rip a droid apart, but there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
At some point, like as we see in Book of Boba Fett, like I guess they're somewhat blaster resilient.
Yeah.
And I guess droid. Force Awakens, Chewie gets shot in Force Awakens, doesn't he? Isn't Finn like putting?
I don't watch those movies, bro. I don't even know.
Can't wait.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Force who? Anyways, we're talking about the best Star Wars movie ever created right now.
You got to get back to.
You're bringing up this Force Awakens kind of garbage.
Terrible. Okay, so who else? So Yoda, goes.
I think that's it.
A wise Jedi Master. Is there?
I forgot about Adi Gallia, but I thought, I think that's it.
And then Aayla Secura's gunned down. Like that's really over the top. Like at some point,
just keep going.
Yeah, like she's dead, guys.
Yeah,
she is like.
They had a grudge out for her or something.
You know what I mean? Don't you feel that way?
Yeah.
Like when you realize it's not an inhibitor chip, and it's like these things are shooting to overkill like that. They're like, were they scared of her and her abilities, or was it this like just resentment?
Have you seen the clips where people will put like all of the different Order 66 we've got now into one montage?
And we see stuff like what is Kanan's master name? Dilpa Baloba?
Dua Lipa?
We'll have to put up a picture of them.
Dua Lipa and Kanan.
Yeah. That's a different death than like what we've gotten in the comics, but like that's pretty. She senses it and is able to fight back. Who else do we see? Obi-Wan. How do we miss that? Obi-Wan has Order 66 turned on him. We see his clones turn on him instantly.
Yep.
Cody hands him back his saber. It says, "Oh, this belongs to you."
Literally seconds before. He would have regretted that so much.
You know what I mean? But like he needed his Jedi, so it really kind of builds this that maybe the Jedi didn't have the clones as allies as they thought they did.
Yeah.
And that's a neat way to think of it versus with Clone Wars where it's like, oh, we love them. We'd do anything for them. Oh, it's this inhibitor chip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And, the inhibitor chip series had its own kind of merit to it. It was kind of interesting. But just taken in the context of this movie, we've just seen episodes 1, 2, and 3. Maybe we watched the animated 2003 series.
Yeah.
Because we were kids. And we've seen 3.
Even then they don't talk about it, though.
Yeah, but we get a little bit lore to the characters. And we've seen 3. In just that, like, these clones seem to just hate the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking hate them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to blow him off this speeder. I'm going to shoot him out of the air. I'm going to gun him down on the bridge, like, as he's charging into battle. Like, we could probably use him to, like, through this wave that's oncoming that we're all going to die to, but we should probably just kill him because we hate him so much.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Aayla Secura is like, oh, we hate her. We
just absolutely,
like, she's probably, like, this arrogant leader who's not seen practical combat. And, like, just like, they know she's dead, but it's just like, each and every shot.
Yeah.
Like,
when Obi-Wan goes back to the temple with Yoda and reroutes the signal, like an absolute genius.
Yep.
And Yoda's like, no, it's too dangerous. And Kenobi's like, well, I'm going back.
Yeah.
Because this is what I have to do.
I
thought that was such a cool scene.
Those are the elements. Sometimes I have to question why I like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is absolutely my favorite prequel character.
Yeah.
It is moments like that where you see like that's the selflessness, but like that's the like intelligence too. That like, okay, he's wise enough to know that like more Jedi are going to heed this message like we do, and if they come here, they're going to die.
Yeah.
So as like, I'm not going to sacrifice myself, but this is what I need to do. Like I'm not going to go in there and die. Like this is my mission is to turn this off to save people. And I kind of would have liked this. Sorry, I was going to say I kind of would like the Kenobi series to be maybe more of that. Maybe more of like the people he rescued.
Yeah.
So like maybe he could have like gone through the galaxy meeting Jedi that like he had rescued and like how they were doing in lives. You know, maybe some like it was just stories like, hey, someone's given up being a Jedi, you know, but he visits with them and like he doesn't try and turn them back, but like, you know,
that was the like cover up theory we got, wasn't it?
Yes.
That like some Jedi was like struggling and went to Kenobi for help.
And we got that one at the beginning and then he dies instantly. No story, no nothing, no connection, no like.
Yes.
I'm just a random.
Yes.
I'm just a random Jedi.
Yeah.
Yada yada. You know what I mean?
The Kenobi. So what I was gonna say was like this is the best version of Kenobi we get.
Absolutely. This is. And my cosplay is this.
Yeah.
Episode 3 Obi-Wan Kenobi is the.
This is what the Kenobi show should have been. It was more of Kenobi like this.
Yeah.
Like written like this, not written how it was. Like yeah, it could be Kenobi in a different time, even a different character or version of Kenobi, but it didn't feel like Kenobi.
He felt too battered and broken.
He was too different.
Yeah.
He was way too different. And then like
the thing was we had so much growth through him through 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So even in episode 2, this space Jesus, like he's still immature. He still does so much wrong. You know what I mean?
Dives out the window and grabs onto that droid. And...
all of it. I mean, if that was episode 3, Obi-Wan, who was captured by Dooku, maybe he would have listened to him. You know what I mean? He's
100%.
Wiser. So we just saw this great character growth of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is it. This is the pinnacle. We see him be this brash Padawan, you know what I mean, who runs headfirst into battles and, you know, maybe can't hold his ground until he can. The second one where he's not quite there, this is it. This is pinnacle. Like, he looks the cleanest.
Pinnacle should have been the Kenobi show.
You could have kept going.
Yeah.
Because
this should be the best.
Because what the thing is, when we see him in A New Hope, he's still a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's still using his Force abilities, and he's shutting down the Death Star himself, or the shield, you know, the generator.
Did you read any of the old comics and stuff?
Yes.
Bro, he was beating up Sand people to stay in shape. Like, he was the man. He was out there making sure he was ready for when the attack came on Luke. That was his one duty, was to make sure that he could protect Luke. This Kenobi can't protect Luke from Reva at the beginning. If Reva went after Luke, he would have died.
It should have been like, you're absolutely right. The whole setup should have been, I know we're getting off track to the Kenobi show, but this is it. This is the best Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is what we got to talk about.
Yeah.
The Obi Andy fight.
Yes.
This is it. So we've had some thoughts on this is Obi-Wan at his finest. So he is a Jedi Master. He realizes he has to stop Anakin. You kind of feel that he's still trying to, well, he is trying to a degree to like bring Anakin back, but I feel like
I feel like he should have tried harder.
So you feel he should have tried harder. I feel that he knows Anakin is like lost. Like he's trying, but deep down he's like, this guy slaughtered kids.
Yeah.
He has taken down the entire order. He just about choked out his pregnant wife. Like,
he also cried on the balcony after he killed those people. He also had a little panic attack with Padme, and that's why he choked her out. The only reason he choked out Padme is because Kenobi was in the door of the ship. Like, and you can see when Kenobi shows up, it's when we watched it, it was earlier than I've ever saw it before. He's still talking, and Anakin looks at the ship. Well, the camera doesn't even go over there. He looks at the ship.
Yeah.
They're still talking, and then he goes, liar! And then... But Kenobi's been standing there for like a minute at this point, and like...
He's trying to let Padme talk to him. She's trying to, like... If anyone's going to talk to Anakin, it's Padme.
Yeah, and Kenobi interrupts, and like Anakin's already on like a breaking point at this point. Like, he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what he's doing. He thinks he does.
He's regretting everything. You saw him cry.
Falsely confident is how I want to put it. Yeah, right? Like, he's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing everything right. But really deep down, he has no idea what he's doing. He's like, I just killed all my friends.
He's just as lost as he's ever been.
Yeah. And he's realizing maybe at this point, like, Palpatine isn't the frail old man father figure that I thought he was.
I still think he's desperately in search of that.
Yeah, but like, you got to say, like, okay, Palpatine's like, yeah, the Chancellor and stuff, but he looks like a good guy. And then he's like, all right, go kill these people, go kill these people, go kill these people. Yeah, like, do it. You know, like, he's getting his dark side out. And like, I think Anakin can really see that. And he's like, oh, maybe I don't know what I'm doing at this point. And then Kenobi pops up. Boom. He's instantly like freaking out, chokes out Padme. We get the best duel of our lifetime. And then on those lava platforms, I'm like, this is where Kenobi goes, Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil. And Anakin goes, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Like, can't you see? Yeah, and that's
and
it.
Then
like,
Kenobi goes, well, then you are lost. But he shouldn't have done that. I think he should have kept with the conversation and been like, explain to me why the Jedi are evil. What has made you feel that way? And like, I don't think he tried hard enough. Like, I wish he tried harder, and it would have went for a different outcome, and then maybe we could have saw a darker side of Anakin at that point. But like, Anakin just like the platform circle, and then he goes, "This is the end for you, my master," and then he jumps over, and then they duel a little bit. Then Kenobi flips off, and then we get the iconic scene that we know. But like, Obi-Wan should have tried harder.
How do you try like this? He's killed kids. He's like,
yeah, but then we get to the Kenobi show, and he's like,
yeah, but we're not talking. We were on a tangent on that. Kenobi show is done terribly.
Yes,
but in this moment, like, Anakin's God, man. Like, Anakin just slaughtered all these kids.
To Kenobi, you think he's gone? He's just gone like that.
At that moment when he chops his legs off, he's not still trying to.
Then why did Kenobi try to argue with Yoda about who's to go kill Anakin? Because he still has feelings for Anakin.
But I think at that point, like, when he finally, like, when he's fighting him and he's on the platform, he's like, okay, you are gone. Like, yep, this is not you anymore.
Interesting.
I'm going to cut your legs off at this point. And he does.
Savage.
You know, and again, it was like almost, you know, I kind of.
Why did he tell him don't try it then?
I felt that it was like almost like a taunt. Like, it was like he knows that he's standing his ground against Anakin. He's struggling, but like Anakin, we should have seen him turn to the dark side. We should have seen those eyes, you know, kind of like moments of the contacts in and out, and like, you know, closer shots to know like, hey, he's tapping into the dark side. It should have been a ploy by Obi-Wan to be like, okay, don't do this. I got the high ground. Even though he's jumped over him earlier and he's done all this stuff, Anakin's like, no, I'm gonna like do the move that you did on Darth Maul. You had Maul had the high. I'm better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Obi-Wan played it like, okay, I've got to like trick this guy, and I've got to figure out a way to beat him. Okay, well, I'm gonna like, you know, saying like, oh, I bet you're not gonna do this, and like, he doesn't. I've got the high ground. Don't try it. Like, you know how many times he's probably talked about the high ground with
Fair
Maul?
enough. Yeah.
You know, he told him stories. Hey, I'm the only one to ever beat a Sith. And he had the high ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like, I have the high ground. Don't try it. Anakin's like, I'm better than you. I'll do the Darth Maul better than you. Yeah. Flips over him, tries, and he's like, well, I've seen this before. I did it. You can't pull this move on me. Slice.
I still wish Obi-Wan would have put more effort into trying to bring him back, though. We could have saw a darker side of Anakin, and maybe the breaking of Obi-Wan, which would have led better into the Kenobi show.
Well, even at this, like, so we discussed this. It's Luke and Leia are born. They're 20 or whatever it is, 1920. They're around that age. 20 years pass. Obi-Wan really ages in that. And like, it should have been more PTSD. Like, he still should have left as like the ultimate version of himself. So I like that he was able to outwit Anakin and like use his knowledge of everything and his wisdom. So that's the way I see it. That like he taunted him in a way that he knew that like, oh, he's going to open up and I can do this and I can win. You know what I mean? Like, out of sheer brute strength, I'm not going to beat this kid.
Yeah.
He's better than me. But I know how to push his buttons. I'm going to push his buttons one last time, and like, that's my way out.
Yeah. It's pretty similar to how I look at it. I look at it as like, Anakin's the most powerful, and like, level-headed would have just wiped the floor with Kenobi. But Anakin's problem is he's a broken character and he's never level-headed. He can never target ever. That's why Thrawn will beat him. That's why the Emperor will always beat him. That's why Kenobi will beat him. Yeah, no-name Jedi is going to beat Vader.
He just gets you're absolutely right.
But he's like so overconfident in the fact that like he can always win that he loses to his biggest opponents.
And I think that should have been a big play into, we'll talk about this more in the Kenobi series, but like, he shouldn't have just walked away from Obi-Wan. It's like, he just has this one track mind.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to talk about that scene.
It's,
the fire scene.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this fight, we have like this is like the pinnacle of lightsaber fighting too. I think everyone's kind of.
This is the pinnacle of any combat in any cinematic film ever, I think.
And there's a lot of CGI, but like the actors, how well they're trained in that choreography, really.
They trained for like 6 months for that fight.
You know what I mean? Like that, it shows.
Yeah.
You know, and you can say like, oh, it feels almost too choreographed. Like, no, the point is that like these guys have been training together for years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's taught this guy everything he knows. This guy's learned everything from him, and then some. They fought in wars for 2-3 years. I forget how long Clone Wars was. They know each other inside and out.
Yeah.
So this battle was like, I'm going to do my best to beat him, and he's going to do. I know everything he can do, and he knows everything I can do.
It was like fighting your exact counterpart.
Yeah, it's like one of those mirror matches in like a video game, or
like chess.
Yeah,
it's like two people with the exact same chess elo going at each other.
Yeah,
it'd be a very hard. It's waiting till one person makes a mistake, and once that mistake's made, that's when the fight's over.
And you know, I the one thing I do like the Kenobi when we see that Anakin Obi-Wan fight, you know, from Attack of the Clones era, and I think the reason we see that era is because he's a Padawan, but like even Obi-Wan isn't perfect at that point.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Where again, I feel like in Episode 3, he is like the ultimate, you know, Jedi. He is, you know, righteously sitting on the council. He's as strong and as wise as the best of them.
This fight is also the longest sword fight in all of history on camera, I think.
Really?
Still to this day. It was when it came out. I still think it is to this day.
So you can have like a Count of Monte Cristo fight go on as long as this and not be like, okay, on to the next.
Exactly. And like you don't get bored of this. The whole time you're like, oh my God. And they keep jumping onto things that are harder and harder and harder. And
there's a lot of moments that like really stick with you. You're like, oh, this or that. Or like, you know, when he did that, where there's a lot of sustenance to it. It's not just a long fight.
And like if we zoomed out and look how far they made it.
Yeah,
right? They start on this platform, the ship platform, make it all the way through
the control room,
room, out the hallway, onto those pipes, across the pipes, down onto the platform, out onto the arm. No, they go through another control room, I'm pretty sure, because they get bust the shields.
Yes, yeah.
And then they go out onto that platform. Platforms get melted, go down the river. Over the waterfall of lava.
Onto debris, onto droid.
Onto debris, down the river, onto the mountain. Or the high ground, whatever you want to call it. But like, that's insane. They travel for so long. Like,
you know, you see it in the costumes too. Like Obi-Wan has I think that's the coolest one. Like, it's burnt and it's starting to get charred.
The costumes were amazing. And as the fight goes on, they get more and more tattered. Oh, dude, I'm so glad someone else realized that. Like, I always realize that. And it's something I would have brought up if you didn't say it. But yeah, like, if you haven't noticed, go look at the costumes from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight. They've got lava holes in them and burn marks and scorches and ashes. And
you feel the gravity of what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know? And so in the theatrical cut, I showed you there's that one scene where it goes from Obi-Wan's holding Anakin's blade.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to he's got his blade and then Anakin's blade. There is a little bit of deleted extras that just adds even more to it. And I guess they hit a critical point of like, hey, this is starting to run on. Like,
this is too much.
Yeah, it was worth it. There was a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the punching and kicking Anakin does.
Yep.
I love that when he just boots Obi-Wan in the face, backhands him. Like, that stuff was super cool.
Yeah, it's not the Jedi away, but he's not a Jedi anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's...
it's also ways of catching him off guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, Obi-Wan's not expecting a kick to the face, and then boom, oh my God, kick to the face.
Yeah. Well, Maul, that's how Maul was beating him, right?
Yeah,
Maul was
very
just
true.
kicking him and like that's...
Maybe that fight was more Anakin mirroring, because have you seen the comics where Anakin trained with a hologram of Maul?
Yes, yeah, the hologram.
Just to, like, rub it in Kenobi's face. Like, oh, you beat Maul. I mean, I can beat Maul, too. It's not that much of a feat.
But it's not like... I mean, that's the wrong feat to look at. Obi-Wan was an apprentice. He was a Padawan.
But Anakin was a Padawan when he was doing it.
He was Darth Vader when he was doing it.
No, when he was fighting the holograms.
Oh,
of Maul?
Oh, not the holograms. There's a comic of Vader fighting Maul. I thought that was maybe a hologram.
Yeah, no, I mean the holograms.
Okay. So
the simulations of Maul.
Yes, in that one, okay, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
It's tough though. I mean, like, the simulations, if Qui-Gon fought a simulation of Maul, would he survive, or was it like the actual, person there, the dark side, that was an unethical mood. I'm going to headbutt the guy with my saber and stab him in the gut.
It's so good.
So this Obi-Wan Anakin fight is the essential.
What's your favorite part of this fight?
How do you
what stands out the most?
It's kind of neat when you watch them fight in the throne room, and it's like all the bodies of the separatist leaders, like they're fighting amongst that. Where they do that kind of Obi-Annie split that like people make fun of, and like, oh, they don't hit. We've talked about this. No, they were preparing, they were like charging energy, they were preparing for the other person to swing.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. So the second you attack, I have the perfect defense reaction.
Yeah.
The way, and I've got to keep doing this. And anytime now, and they're both doing that to the point where like, he's going to swing, he's going to swing, he's going to swing. You know what I mean?
They're mirroring each other. And
I think that was like really cool when you look back at it,
and then the force push, or they lock and boom.
It does feel like people that have trained together for years, and like, they really do know each other, and they really are, they're not the same fighting, but like they're fighting on the same level almost.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of that fight is when Obi-Wan's got Anakin laying on that table, and he like comes down over top, and he's like both hands coming down, and Anakin like pulls his saber in just one hand. And it's like, that's the power of like the light side versus the dark side, right? Like he's just like nonchalantly blocking Obi-Wan's.
Now, was that his robotic hand as well?
I think so.
So does that maybe have any play to do it as well?
Maybe, but I think like that's the way I always took it, was just like Anakin's so much more powerful at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like Kenobi's like facing it, and then Anakin's just like, and then kicks him. Gets up. So
is it that like Obi-Wan is, because we know his form is the ultimate defense, the entire fight he's just kind of biding his time for that one moment?
That's the way I've always taken it.
He's barely keeping pace. He's barely like, I need that one moment. So that high ground again is like, okay, well, I know if he goes to jump over me, he's going to do this. So I'm going to taunt him. I'm going to say like, because he could have jumped anywhere in that, like he could have jumped further down beside him. He could have just for so many more places.
He could have pulled Kenobi towards him.
So much stuff. But I think it was in that whole instance, like, no, remember how I beat Maul? I have that.
It was a cocky thing. Yeah. He wasn't focused.
He was just baiting him, and Anakin took it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool, to be like, okay, so again, it was a combination of all his skills as a Jedi.
So do you think if Anakin wasn't being arrogant, Kenobi would have lost?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it, that like Anakin is that much stronger. His one hand blocks a two-handed swing. He has just taken on several Jedi. He's taken on the entire Jedi temple. So not the council, the temple. Mm-hmm. Again, we talk about numbers. Like he would have fought a lot of Jedi,
thousands. And then like another thing too, like it might be looking too deep into it, but like I'm sure George did it for a reason. When they're standing on those platforms, and Obi-Wan's like, "I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you." He's winded.
Yeah.
He's like, and Anakin's just standing there. He's like, yep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not even phased. Like, and like you said, like, I think Obi-Wan was just like holding my ground, like waiting for that one moment. And like, if Anakin would have just kept pushing, Obi-Wan would have gassed out.
I want to talk a little about it down the road, but there was that PS2 game. So like one of the like ultimate co-op games back in the day. That final mission. So you played the whole campaign as each other. Yeah. And I think in the final mission you played against each other.
Yeah.
Like you had to decide the winner. You could, as Anakin, win.
Yeah.
And the scene is,
oh dude, it's so cool.
It's amazing. He does make the jump. Obi-Wan misses, and I think he spears him, doesn't he? Yeah. He gets him right through the chest. Yeah. So almost like how Maul kills
him down the river.
Yeah, and how Maul kills Qui-Gon. Like it's like a stab. I think it's through the chest, not the abdomen.
Yeah.
And kicks him down the river.
Yeah.
Then goes to the Emperor. The Emperor gives him the new saber.
And he kills him with it.
Again, it would have been cool if it like had shown that like it was his episode 2 saber modified.
It would have been awesome.
You know what I mean? Some sort of like, and then he kills the Emperor and he takes over.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like that would have been Lord Vader running the galaxy, like Anakin. Like,
have you seen all the concept art for that?
There's a really cool shot. I hope we can find it where it's like what they looked like from episode 1 time, or like after episode episode 4, after George Lucas had written that, because and I don't think it was like Anakin Skywalker, but it was like Luke's father and like kind of the image, and then when they kind of he's Anakin, and what did he look like? He would look like the and it's really neat. I think it's concept art, not fan art. I'll try and find the photo.
Yeah.
But there's some neat stuff because he looks like an old.
Is that with the white and brown robes?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's like a grizzled, like, you know what I mean? And he's lived this life where I still feel like Anakin now is still a young adolescent man. You know what I mean? Like, he's not quite like the...
Although, how cool would it have been if we got Anakin, long hair, scar, maybe he's got a couple more scars after the Kenobi fight, Sith eyes, say the Vader shoulders with a nice big cape, and like some big black boots, and
he could have worn the exact same outfit as Vader,
dude,
just gone with no helmet,
and like more scars and stuff.
Doesn't need the respirator, so he goes with all that, just maybe like an armored, the belt instead of lights, and like the rest again, just like tool belts and stuff, and almost like the Terminator 2 John Connor, where it's like all the scars and you just things that you kind of we've seen Anakin get this one, but how did he get all the what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just
do a Darth Malgus thing, take his jaw out or something at some point. That'd be cool.
I was really hoping they were going to do that with Balin, kind of at the end there.
Yeah,
it's like bring that character.
Ahsoka should have took his jaw off or something,
right?
That
and just
awesome.
Like some sort of crippling scar, injury to the face. So he has, and I know obviously we didn't know the actor, God rest his soul, was going to die, Ray Stevenson, but like.
But they did before it was posted.
Yeah, right? So you could have done some posts. You could have done some final shots of like, she has that fight with him. It was there.
Yeah.
You could have had like a stunt, like she clips him and like it goes to his. And would it have been tasteless to use the actor? Not really, because I mean they use dead actor faces all the time.
Well, they could have just did a wide shot because it was too gruesome. Like, pan out, watch Ahsoka, boom. You don't need either Rosario Dawson or Ray Stevenson.
And then you have him from behind. You can
just the jaw on the ground. That's it. And then that's what we see of Balin until the end, and then CG the mask on.
Yeah. Would you have, if you took a saber off, like a jaw for the saber, would there be anything left, or would it just like cauterize all that?
It's got to be cauterized.
You know what I mean? Like it just vaporizes the bone, it cauterizes it. Like I wouldn't even think like a jaw would land. It would just be like,
true, just disappear.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it would turn to like because we're talking prequel era, like their plasma swords versus A New Hope, where like he cuts off the arm and it bleeds. Like I would think that it would just be like, you know what I mean? So could it just be a swipe and like you could have shot it away.
You think it's a headshot from far away, and then you see him on the.
That's brilliant.
End.
Yeah,
boom, done.
Cuts out and it like you got it like samurai, like black and white,
he just like falls backwards or something.
You can tell, like the eagle-eyed viewer can tell that something's missing.
Yeah,
and he collapses, and at the very end, you're right. Like we see him on the horse and turns around. And they already have the shot, and they've just edited on some sort of temporary mask.
Yeah,
something.
Put in a breathing sound. Done.
Yeah. Fuck, that would have been so much cooler.
Wow, Disney! Sorry, never mind. We're getting off track.
We're rewriting. Just call us when you need help.
So I think we can both agree.
Kenobi?
This has got to be the best battle ever of all time.
So this is the ultimate Star Wars battle.
This is my favorite character. This is your favorite character.
Because I think this is
the two nicest lightsabers. This is the longest sword battle in history.
God, we don't talk about the sabers
enough. Blue, it's all perfect, man. It's so perfect.
I know that we've talked about, like, I wish Anakin had, who we saw him with the green saber in episode 2. I wish he had green as his other saber color. The blue on blue is really cool. I wouldn't
change that.
No, that's what so I always want this one to be blue.
Yeah.
But maybe have him have a green one first.
When I was a kid, I wanted it to be red. It always bugged me that it wasn't red. Now I'm like, no, it's so
needed to be blue because he was still because the Vader one is Darth Vader. So this is the.
Then we get the introduction of Luke and Leia, Padme's funeral.
So the other thing too, I was just gonna say, so he takes
Anakin's saber.
He just So I didn't reference to that comment that like, this is your life. don't lose it. This is your
Oh,
life.
I never thought of it like that. That's a good point.
So he's like, I took your life and I'm physically taking your life, metaphorically too. Because like, why would he
got him?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Why would he want it? Why would he want, like, what's the point of having it? He doesn't know.
Sentimental value.
But Jedi aren't sentimental. They don't have possessions. You know what I mean?
And Jedi are dead at this point.
Well, not if he has anything to do with it. He beats Vader here. He's got a chance to do something. He's got a chance to rally the Jedi who's ever left, because we know that there are Jedi left.
Yeah.
It's not just like, the movie tells us, no, it's just these handful survive. Mm-hmm. No, it's like we're learning, like there are thousands of Jedi out there.
Yeah.
So he beats Vader here. There's a chance he can rally everyone, take on the Emperor again. 300 Jedi on one, take him down, or go to the Senate, because they probably still have followers and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Goes a whole different way.
Interesting. Palpatine had his hand too in it. He was too ready. That's another thing I want to talk about, like about this. Like, Palpatine's the ultimate Sith. He's the ultimate villain, I think, out of any movie ever. Like, when you think about the history of the Sith, right? Darth Bane. I'm killing every Sith there is. It's going to be 2 until we're ready to rule the galaxy again. Thousands of years go by. Palps is like, I'm that guy. And then he does it. Successfully does it. And runs an empire for like 30 years.
But he doesn't have, like, he's in that aspect, there's still only 2. Palpatine and the Vader.
But like, it was so that they could rule the galaxy again. Because the Sith goal has always been to rule the galaxy, but back then they couldn't they were all too selfish.
And they were always infighting.
So they
had armies. They had, like, there was multiple force
but then they'd fight each other, and then the Jedi would win. The Jedi always won because they were too arrogant. They couldn't band together. So that's why Bane was like, well, I'm going to kill all the Sith. We're going to go into hiding, like we're gone, and then we'll reemerge when we're ready to rule the galaxy.
It's it is neat to see Palpatine's arc from Phantom Menace to, like, how he became this ultimate power too.
Did you ever read the book Plagueis?
No, we've talked about it. Like, I know about it, and we've shared some you shared some stories. It's interesting. It's neat to see that perspective of, like, okay, what controls the galaxy? Money, power, politics. So let's do that. Instead of being this military force, let's use the military force.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be the head of everything. That's a really neat.
I love Palpatine. I think he's an amazing character, especially in this movie.
I still think they did him such an injustice with the chair flip. You can put it up here as a...
That didn't bug me that much.
Okay, you put it up here.
At last, the Jedi are no more. Not if anything to say about it I have.
It just... Dark Emperor of the Galaxy loses its punch when you see him, like, sit on his head with his ass in the air.
So does Yoda.
I didn't
see like
weird shot,
and Yoda's like, oh. It could have been done better.
Just a weird take, even. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like he just got caught off guard. He was like, Yoda's all messed up and
cool, or just in a way that's like not the Emperor's.
It's the yell that gets me. Yeah.
See, it's just something missing. Just something. But
and then you didn't like that fight, right? Too much Yoda jumping around for you.
I felt like it could have been a better fight. Like, again, Yoda against Dooku. Like, okay, they use the Force, they use the lightsabers. It's
in this they really use the Force, though.
I kind of like the second part more, where it's like they're literally throwing the Senate at each other. That to me, like the whole thought of that, like, the Emperor is using it literally as the Senate as a weapon. Mm-hmm. Like, he's throwing the chairs. Like, okay, that's a little on the nose, and that's kind of cool. More set pieces like that, less of like the goofy stuff in the office, like them throwing. Like, doesn't Yoda walk in and just like the guards like he totally like blows them to the side and stuff, and like it. Yeah, I don't know. So that wasn't the hottest thing. I like the thought of the Senate being thrown at each other. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kind of ends. Yoda just like gives up.
He ran away. He knew he couldn't win.
Leaves his lightsaber.
Yep.
But doesn't leave his lightsaber? Like, how the hell
we
did
don't
Luke
know
get
what
that?
happens there. That was weird.
Yeah.
That was. I feel like that was one of those things where like they just didn't do the research.
Oh, like, come on, it's Dave Filoni.
Sam Witwer had to correct him on.
I has corrected him a few times.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was something where like they had to do. They're like, how did he get it? We'll figure that out later. We need the audience to realize like this is Master Yoda's lightsaber. Because Luke could have said like, this is a recreation of my master. Literally one word, like you change the whole thing. Luke built a second saber. Luke took the time as he was training Grogu, and it would show you that, like, okay, Luke's been training him for a while, because he built him a saber.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That'd have been cool. I just accepted that.
Little retcon, little cool. Like you can throw it in there, Disney, right now.
Watch, you'll go watch it in like 6 months, and it'll say that, and they just won't say anything.
Yeah, we know they watch us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the Obi-Wan Anakin had more set pieces and more memorable moments. Yoda just gives up, leaves his lightsaber, leaves everything.
Yeah.
Crawls through a vent like a weird little creature, and like
Bail has to save him.
Yeah.
Bail of all people. Yoda would have been a goner if it wasn't for Bail.
Just weird things, and like even like again, what is Yoda's arc at the end of this?
What do you mean?
Dagobah, I must go.
Yeah.
You're just running away.
Yeah.
You're telling me like we failed, man. There's still Jedi out there. Luke and Leia have to be trained. All this stuff, and you're just gonna. Why did you just run away to Dagobah? What does it serve the purpose?
He's scared. That's what it seems like, at least.
I felt like he was going there because like he had something to do. Like this is wise 900-year-old Yoda. Like you know what I mean?
Then we find out he has nothing to do.
That's what I think. You could have written it like that. That like maybe like he goes to escape or something, and coincidence something happens, and like a ship he's on crashes, and he like lands on Dagobah, and like he's stranded there, and he's just like,
well, I'm gonna live here now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I
live here, I will.
Why did he choose that? Why did he? Was it the
reasoning? I think that he chose it is because it's a Sith heavy planet. Like it has a lot of dark side energy surrounding the planet.
Well, is it so he could use that
just
area?
Hide?
Okay, to hide.
Because that's the last place that the Emperor would go looking for him.
But he doesn't want to help anyone? That's what I mean. He doesn't want to be of any service. Doesn't want to, kind of sounds like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, don't want to help, don't want to, like, no.
But then he helped Luke when the time came.
Because he realized he was wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you do that properly, but, like, give him, or you could have even maybe said that, like, this is too much, but he goes to Dagobah because there's that forest that like Luke has the vision and like that's a super forest. You could have said that like he's going there for that reason. He doesn't know why, but he's being called to that area to safeguard this place for something.
Yeah.
Give him something that like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is a holy place. He's going for a reason.
Well, he just says to the Wookiee, to exile, I must go.
You know what I mean? But it should have been like when he's talking to Obi-Wan, he's like, what does he say? Hey, we got to teach you about your master Qui-Gon or whatever. This should have been like, okay, we're going to Dagobah
yes.
because like, yeah, it's a dark side place. They won't find us. There's something there that we need to work on. You know what I mean? It kind of seems like he ends this movie. He's like, well, I got nothing left. It should have been like, no, I still got something in the tank. We'll teach you how to like become one with the Force with Qui-Gon. There's still some stuff we learn. Like maybe we'll be the rule of two right now. Just something that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Yoda's like, okay, I got nothing to do. I give up. And Obi-Wan like, okay, well, I'm just going to take the kids back to their dad's home planet and give them to.
Why didn't Yoda watch over Leia?
Why wasn't Yoda more involved with them? He sends Obi-Wan to go do it, and he's just like, okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
You got this. I know I got this too, but you got this. I'm going to go just relax for a bit. Come get me when you need me. Instead of being like, okay, that's your journey. This is my journey. I need to go get this ready for when you're ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still feel like Obi-Wan is the ultimate master. We've talked about this, that like him at the pinnacle on the Death Star, like he is the ultimate Jedi. He beats Vader because he's like, we don't need to clash sabers anymore. We've done it. We've done it in Revenge of the Sith at the height of our power.
Yeah.
I'll play with you for now. But I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
You know how I'm going to beat you, Vader? And he becomes one with the Force when Vader goes for the killing swing. He goes, I beat you. There's no way you can ever beat me now.
Nope.
Because I won with the Force.
And he mentally beats Vader at that point.
That's what I mean. Like, that's the ultimate defeat. It's like, physically I can beat you down. Your body's being broken. You've come back from worse. Like, no, I'm going to show you. I'm going to break your mind. I'm going to break your mind, your spirit, and like, well, you think the dark side's strong? Later, clicks off his saber, clicks off his own, because he becomes one of the Force before Vader swings at him, right?
Yeah.
It's not like Vader, because I used to think that it was like Vader hitting him, and like, no, he disappears. He shows Luke, you don't need to fight with this.
Yeah.
This is a good weapon for civilized time, but an even more civilized person doesn't use this, even though I used it to chop off some dude's arm in the bar earlier. I was really pissed and we had to go. How you beat a real, like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Beat him with your mind. That to me is really cool. So then it could have been, that was Obi-Wan's journey. And like, okay, now he has to, I mean, Yoda came about because Obi-Wan was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So George Lucas had said in A New Hope, Obi-Wan had nothing to do. He was just sitting in the control room with Leia, you know, when they were like watching the ships fight. And like, he's like, there's nothing he could really, like, it felt anticlimactic. So if I killed him, then he can be there talking to Luke, like through the Force and stuff. Great. So then Empire Strikes Back. He goes, well, Luke needs a new master. Shit, I killed Obi-Wan. So I'll create this Yoda character. You know, so you could have written the story backwards to be like, okay, Luke did eventually need two of them. Yeah. He needed to learn this from Obi-Wan.
The Force.
And he needed to,
physical side from.
Yeah, you know, or like.
So weird.
More, you know what I mean? Like because he learns the physical stuff through Yoda.
Yeah.
The standing on one hand.
900-year-old goblin dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Put me in a backpack, run me through, like, kind of cool. But maybe set it up more in this movie instead of just have Yoda be like, yep, I lost. I don't know what to go. See you later. You go take the kids. I'm going to go chill here.
Yeah.
Go to exile. Like, no, like.
Interesting ending for Yoda for sure.
So then we have Padme's ending too.
Yep. What an amazing funeral. You see the little necklace that Anakin made.
Yeah, we see Jar Jar, who's made it through this whole thing.
Yeah. I love how each movie he gets less and less, though.
Yeah, but he's still there. Can't completely get rid of him.
Yeah. Birth of the twins, Padme's death.
How does she not know that she's pregnant with twins at that time? Is she that neglectful as a to-be mother that she's like, even in such like, oh, I'm not going to go in to like see a doctor or anything?
Well, I think that's what it is. She's too busy. She got so much going on.
I've never carried a kid to term, but I'd feel at some point that like you'd have to go talk to someone.
This is Star Wars, bro. We don't know what they do.
Yeah, I mean, like someone would be like, "You're pregnant." She's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Have you talked to someone?" No,
I'm busy.
Yeah, my protocol droid sees after me.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have twins, and she knows the two names because if it was going to be Luke, it was going to be or boy, it was Luke, and if it was a girl, it was Leia. Okay, cool. What happened if it was two boys? Did she just go Luke?
Luke.
Yeah, Luke 2?
Yeah.
And that's where Luke 2 comes from.
But like, I always thought it was weird that like Bail was just like, hey, I'll take one of your kids.
Yeah.
And Kenobi and Yoda were like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, yeah, I get that they know Bail, but like, this is also a Skywalker child.
What's the point of separating them? Doesn't Yoda say, what's his reasoning?
I have no idea.
Because Anakin doesn't know he's had twins.
Yeah.
Safer they'll be or split the... No. Why wouldn't you keep the kids together? Because probably from a really young age, they would start to discover the Force.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing around together. They're playing, and like all of a sudden, one awakens the Force. They both figure out they have the Force. Cool. Now Obi-Wan can train them together. You know what I mean? Like, it's the point of... And again, I know we're going backwards because she wasn't to have the Force until Empire. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of stuff, and then she wasn't Luke's sister until Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot... But work with... Like, if that's where you're going, like, work with it. You know what I mean? Like... I don't know, just like, I'm going to take a kid, you take one here, like, I don't know, have it be something greater, like a conflict and they get separated or whatever. You
it's weird that they didn't just instantly get trained, too. Like, why didn't Obi-Wan and Yoda go to Dagobah with the kids?
I know we're doing a lot of what if, but you're so right. Like, yeah, why wouldn't they just, like...
A New Hope, and then let's leave him for 20 years to get bullied by his uncle on a desert planet. Like,
it's just called Star Wars Let's Hope.
Yeah, literally.
Let's hope the kids grow up and defeat their father, even though we have no input.
Yeah.
How bad could it go? So we get that. You know, I think I think maybe, what is it? The Obi-Wan Anakin fight is so big that like we feel it ends kind of.
It ends there.
You know what I mean? Like
definitely,
the movie just ends on a quiet note. The final shot is him dropping kids off to the twin sons, isn't it?
Although we did miss something, the Vader.
Oh yeah,
The Vader. That
George,
was so cool.
I think they said that he intentionally made that costume quite heavy, so that like Hayden Christensen, like it was kind of awkward and stuff, because he's like, I wanted it to physically be like he's uncomfortable wearing it.
Have you seen the behind the scenes when he walks out on set and everyone's cheering? Man, that'd be so cool. Like, that'd be so cool.
It's so neat to see him get the attention now. It really is like so heartwarming to see his success.
Because
like,
we're grown up now.
Yeah, and we can appreciate it.
Yeah. We have a voice now.
He's the man. He is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Seeing him in Kenobi, that was really cool. Again, the Kenobi series sucks, but like there's always, I've said this in the past, there's always some redeeming aspect, even
Definitely.
worse. Hayden Christensen in like the Vader outfit and like that.
Yeah.
That scene of the eye and the
Did you cry?
Who didn't?
Yeah. Good point. Bro, I was like in my chair, like like just every emotion you could feel, like back to back to back to back. But seeing the inside of the mask, I really liked as it came down to.
Yeah.
And then
you felt the claustrophobia of like the. Well, you could feel. He was in pain. Yeah. So the Emperor didn't give him any anesthetic. There was no like, hey, you're fucking half dead. You're dark side.
Yeah.
Let's roll with this. Let's keep you in constant agony. You know, let's give you a shitty suit too. There's better, like Grievous was around at this time, and Grievous had like more fluidity in his motion and stuff. Like, let's give you this hard suit, weird interface, and like you're gonna have.
He meant to keep him weak.
Yeah, but that you're absolutely right. And that scene of the mask coming down, and like I almost felt like that fear in him. Like,
yeah.
What's going
because
on?
you can see his eyes. Like, oh my god.
Like this is gonna be me forever. Like I have to wear this thing for the rest of my life, or I'm gonna die.
And then that
I
first
feel trapped
breath,
inside this.
It pans out, and then it starts from there.
It's great. Was there too much CGI in that scene besides that? Like,
definitely not.
Like, I want to just like maybe the droids around or the setting. I feel like that was like part of it was on a blue screen. I feel like you could have just had like a really
the table and everything was on real, and then everything else. Was
but I mean, like, I feel like you could have had more of a set there, and really had that shot be timeless. Less CGI droids, just very like go back to the roots with that shot. Go back to
would have been cool. Like,
you know, Empire when he's sitting in his chair the first time, and we see the mask slowly lowering and that. Go back to some real stuff like that. So like it just has that
a little bit better.
Yeah, that like that bite in reality that you're like, this is, I can feel this. I can taste this. This setting. You know what I mean? And when he stands up off the table, I always forget that like he rips the restraints off.
Oh yeah. It just shows the strength
in that ferocity. Like, okay, so we talked about this. I've said that a lot. We have talked about in the past where Padme's death, which she gives up living, is her essence is either taken by the Force or like directly or indirectly, or Anakin takes it directly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the fuel that keeps him going, that anger. So like he reaches out to the Force and like he wants to survive. He hates Obi-Wan. He hates everything. He's so angry. He's just reaching out to the Force to pull out like some life force, some energy. And it just happens that Padme's the weakest at this point.
Yeah.
And she's losing this will, and he doesn't realize that he's pulling at something and he's pulling at her.
I think she'd also be willing at this point
to try and
help.
So she's giving, like, she's like, my kids have,
because one of her last sentences is Anakin okay? Is Anakin all right?
So she's given birth, and now she's so focused on him. She's like, I would give my life for him.
Yeah.
And she does. And I think
I love that theory.
You know, and that's why Darth Sidious says,
you killed her?
Yeah. Because he's not lying.
Yeah.
Not like, again, in that aspect, why would he lie to her?
To Anakin?
Yeah. What's the point?
Well, to infuriate him.
But why?
Make him mad.
Why, though?
Because that's where his power comes from. He wants
you
him
just
angry.
put him in a suit to cripple him.
Yeah, but his whole thing is make you as angry as I possibly
But
can
angry
make
at
you.
what? Like, you could have geared his
Himself.
anger towards something.
No,
You
himself.
but he could have said Obi-Wan killed her.
No, it doesn't have as much impact as you.
I think
because then he can kill Obi-Wan and the pain's done.
he still lost her. That
but
still there.
He's sad. He's got his revenge. He can't kill himself. If he does, he's
his
in
whole
no
point of
different
going to the
position
dark
than he
side
is
was
now.
to save Padme.
Yeah, and he
He fell
failed.
to the dark was
So now he's just even more angry.
to save her.
And then failed. So you're just...
You could have had her fail.
He's
that
like
she dies,
an ultimate disappointment in
I-
himself.
I think that part of that, is that like Palpatine is just telling the truth though. You reached out and you killed her. You did it.
I don't... Even if he didn't know, like, I think Palpatine still would have said what he said.
Okay.
Just because, like, it puts him on another level of angry. Yeah. Like,
all right, that's fair.
How, think about it like you, right? Like, if you killed your woman, what would make you feel worse? Someone else killing your woman or you killing your woman? What would make you feel worse?
Well, for sure.
Right? Like, so that's the play. Like, it's like, man, you could never live with yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, say just like, you got out of hand, you were drinking and driving or something, you crash into a tree, she dies, you live, you're never going to be able to live with yourself. That's what Palpatine did to Vader, in my opinion. It was like, no, you did this, bro. You lost your control.
Yeah, well, absolutely,
and you did this. And there's no going back from that. So deal with your pain however you're going to deal with it.
But I feel like you're almost like you're running a risk as Palpatine, like you're about to unleash this thing. Yeah, like, hey, Anakin, you're angry.
That's what he wants, though.
And he takes it out on the Emperor and kills him?
He can't. So I think this is either from the novelization of Episode 3 or the making of. But in one of these books, it talks about how Vader instantly tried to grab the Emperor with the Force, and he just can't. He can't even touch the Emperor at this point. His Force barrier is too strong. So he tried to crush the entire room, including the Emperor, and the Emperor just stood there and laughed at him. Was like, haha, yeah. Because like that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted Vader to explode. Give me everything. So Vader did everything, and he couldn't touch the Emperor.
Okay, all right.
And like that was in one of the novels. And mind you, like that's not the movie. We're talking about the movie, but like that was, and it could have been speculation if it was from the making of, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that's the way I kind of look at it. I'm like, Vader did reach out to grab the Emperor, and the Emperor was like, oh no, we're on a different level here now. You got some work to do before you get to where I'm at.
That's cute.
Exactly. And he just stood there like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, well, Vader crushed everything around him.
Why in God's name did you have the Emperor flip over the chair with the rope falling?
You gotta let it go, bro.
He's just so powerful, and like you just give us that scene to be like, he's an old man. Like, no, I want to see like the Emperor is this ultimate, like he's just at the top. There's a reason he's the best. The flip.
Well, what if that? We'll do a whole episode on
what if Palpatine didn't get flipped?
Like if he just like boom stood his ground, and like Yoda, you see everything else go flying. Except
would that not have been really cool? Where it's like Yoda didn't even stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yoda goes to do stuff and
just
like
gets dummied,
like ridiculously dummied.
Yeah,
like to the point where it's like he's like, oh my god, this is life changing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100 years old.
That should have been.
I've had the Sith.
Yeah,
I'm hundreds of years old. Sorry, I fought the Sith in the past. Like, this is something else.
Yeah,
this guy is on an entire different level.
Yeah,
he's on a different planet right now, in a different galaxy, far, far away than me. When it comes to skill, that would have been cool.
It would have been like how Sidious did Malin Savage. That's how it should have been done. Like just dummies him.
Picks him up and blows him against the it just holds him there.
Yeah. But like taunting him while he does it.
That would have been cool. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna like, there didn't need to be like we know when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting, Obi-Wan's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan's not gonna die. There's still stakes. We still felt the excitement, the intensity. The Emperor Yoda fight, like you just know that like, okay, well Yoda's gonna escape and the Emperor's still there. Like there's absolutely like nothing is gained from this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like, where is it going to lead to? Somehow Anakin becomes Darth Vader. That's a pretty big, like, how does that happen? They're just going to go their separate ways. It should have been like, he goes to fight the Emperor. The Emperor absolutely just wrecks him. And like it's just a frantic fight for him to just escape. Just like Obi-Wan. He's like the ultimate, like he's the strongest Jedi when it comes to the use of the Force, and he is barely just holding his ground, getting out of the situation. And it's just him not trying to like even beat him. He's like, oh my God, I just need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna die and I'm no good to anyone. That would have been cool. Like Palpatine should have just been an absolute like, oh yeah, just go sit down.
Yeah.
I'm
a level 20 dragon against a level 1 rogue.
Honest to God. You know what I mean? Like you are nothing to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a level 5 rogue? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything to me.
That would have been very cool.
You know?
Maybe that's what George was shooting for. He just didn't know how to get it off, you know?
So we'll do some, we'll find an editor down the road, an animator.
Yeah.
And we'll have someone do up some of these what if scenes that we're talking about. And it would be cool to just have a quick kind of montage of like Yoda realizing like, wow, you are something else. I need to get out of here. And it's just Yoda throws one Senate seat at like, Palpatine, and Palpatine rips 40,000 off the wall and launches them, and he's like, wow, I can't do this.
I feel like we should have seen Yoda attack Palpatine and Palpatine just stand there like they were nothing. Like throw the Senate seat at him and watch Palpatine just one hand just like.
So you see Yoda, he's like pulling, he's spinning it, he's like doing all this work, and he launches it, and it comes towards Palpatine, and he's still laughing, and it's like so close, and he's just like laughing, and he just like splits it in half. He just puts his hand and it splits, or he just does something, and it just drops, and then all of a sudden, like 100 times more, effortlessly fly at Yoda, and Yoda's like, what?
A bolt of lightning, it explodes, and then the other ones come through.
It cuts out, and you see this grand, and it's overwhelming. You know what I mean? That's the level I felt it should have been at. Like the dark side really like is so much stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A mental game too. Could have got into Yoda's head.
Like, could you have done something even with like the sabers? Because like he killed those 4 Jedi, so he would have had like their sabers and stuff. Sans Dooku. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, so he's got a bunch of Jedi sabers from the temple or whatever, and he's just like turning them out and like launching them.
They're coming in and fighting
like
him.
Yoda.
Man. Through like the smoke.
You know what I mean?
Ash and debris.
And like Yoda can like, maybe it's subtle or maybe not so subtle, but like Yoda can tell whose sabers they are. And like, he's just fighting a saber. So he's like knocking down and destroying the hilts, but it's like he's, symbolically killing the last of these people. You know what I mean? That'd be cool.
The last of his own people.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Something like
the mind game. So the saber's fighting him in the smoke, and then Yoda like comes to, and it's like Sassy Tin and his body. Or like maybe his body's not there, but like it's like a reincarnation
out of the smoke or something.
Yeah,
so
he's having a vision, and then he like sees him, and it's like he kills him, but then the smoke goes away, and it's Sassy Tin, and then the next one is Kit Fisto or Mace or
just something.
Oh,
God, why are we writing better stories? But no, this is still a great movie.
Yeah, it's the best.
Okay, so we love it all the way through. This is like from start to finish. This is one of the best. We both rate it like right near the top of our list.
Yeah.
When you tell people it's Star Wars, like great way to start. I think if you were to jump in this without seeing any of the other ones, you'd still maybe to a degree be okay.
Oh, you'd still enjoy the movie.
You know what I mean? So Definitely. It starts off and it's like these 2 knights kind of go. One's cocky.
Still a great story.
You know what I mean? Like Palpatine's some sort of Sith Lord. It all kind of like it's bottled enough that like. Yeah, obviously we need to know like the history of these people, but like any great Star Wars, it just you're thrown into the middle of it. So you're watching it beginning to end.
And you're hooked instantly.
Yeah. Fall of a Republic, Rise of an Empire.
Amazing. We talked about too, this one doesn't have any dull moments. So like
this one is just
like you're really like hooked right off the hop with like a wicked space battle, and then we need to free the Chancellor from the invisible hand where General Grievous is at. And then like boom, we crash onto the ship. We fight a bunch of droids. Like, there's no, like, next. Click off.
Well, I think Attack of the Clones felt that way. Attack of the Clones felt like, like, I gotta go
to some of the other viewers.
I've got to go to a diner right now and, like, talk about a...
I get what you're saying. It was definitely slower.
So, I highly recommend if someone has to watch a Star Wars, this is it. Oh, well, this might not be it. I have some other Star Wars stuff that I feel like you could introduce to a no one, and it's a great.
But you can't introduce Andor to a no one and be like, "This is Star Wars."
Die on this hill. We will go back to this moment. We will cut it. When you watch Andor with me, and when we watch it together in like the right context, you will get such an appreciation for the grander Star Wars world.
What you just said is crazy. You said you could show this to someone who's never seen Star Wars, and they would like enjoy it, right? So they may, but they wouldn't enjoy it for it being Star Wars because it's not Star Wars.
It's
a show about a dude that dies fighting a battle on a beach. Like, it's not Star Wars. There's no lightsabers, there's no Force, so it can't be Star Wars.
You don't need to.
It's a Star Wars story, if you will.
I mean, Solo doesn't have Han Solo doesn't have
exactly, and I wouldn't show a non-Star Wars person Solo to start them off.
There's some decent stuff in there. Andor is okay. Boba Fett for the most part has no Force.
And okay, so I wouldn't show anybody Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
I wouldn't show anybody any of that for their first time if they go, "What is Star Wars? Show me Star Wars."
Okay.
Star Wars is.
Would you show them A New Hope?
Sure. I would show them any of the first 6 movies, any single one, and be like, "This is Star Wars. This Mando and whatever is what Disney has added on to Star Wars." Yes, there's amazing Star Wars stories, but this isn't the heart of Star Wars. The heart of Star Wars is the Force, lightsabers, connection.
And I felt this. Does it always have to have lightsabers?
Yes. So,
like Rogue One almost got away with no lightsabers, and was
a Star Wars story does not need to have lightsabers. Star Wars needs to have lightsabers.
So Star Wars isn't a Star Wars unless we have a laser sword. That's what we're saying. Like, no, I can appreciate that.
The Force too.
But you can say
Mando is a Star Wars story.
You can argue that the Force works around things. Like
the Force is everything. Yeah, whatever. But do you see Mando use the Force?
But you can have references of it. Like, I enjoyed in Rogue One the element that there was the Guardian of the Wills, and okay, we're not Jedi, but we know there's the Force out there, and I know this is greater than me, and I'm a emissary for it, and I swear by it, but I can't connect with it. Also, that bothers me so much that Chirrut, Chirrut, sorry, can't use the Force, but Sabine can.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm off topic here.
Star Wars story, okay,
so would I show them Revenge of the Sith? Probably.
Yes.
It's a good one.
Yes, you can't, and this is for all of you guys. If your girlfriend or whoever asks who has never seen Star Wars, you best not show them anything Disney's created. It's not okay. Star Wars is 1 to 6. New Hope to Return of the Jedi, amazing choices, all 3. Episodes 1 to 3, Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith, great choices. Anything after that, I wouldn't show them the 2D Clone Wars to start. I wouldn't show them.
Well, where would you start with? Would you start with the prequel trilogy or the sequel?
Personally, I'd start with the prequels.
I'd start not the sequel, the OG. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Not the.
I'd start them off at the prequels.
But isn't how we all did it the OG? So we build the story of Darth Vader.
I would actually let them choose. I'd be like, "Do you want to start with how it came out or how?"
And if they ask, how do you not spoil it? You're like,
then I would recommend
the big villain is the prequels are about the big villain.
I would just let them watch it. I just let them watch it.
If you wanted to get someone into Star Wars and they could only watch one movie,
Episode 3.
But there's nothing else. They can't watch any more or any less. It's just that.
You can't tell me you're giving them Andor.
I would not. That's a lot of Star Wars. That's a great story, though. I'm telling you, it's so good. But out of the movies, out of 1 to 6,
it'd be Episode 3.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, not maybe the iconic Episode 4.
No.
The trend-setting. Maybe not the held in acclaim Episode 5.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to call Episode 6. The technical marvel that Episode 1 was, because that CGI. There's a lot of CGI in artwork that was groundbreaking. I like to think the misstep that was Episode 2.
Well said.
And
it's a nice way of putting it.
So you're saying that this is everything.
Perfect. This is perfect.
This is the costumes, the setting, the sound, the designs, the feelings. Everything is the story. This is Star Wars. Yep. So this is the ultimate. Okay, and I will take that. That I think there are better Star Wars movies, but I think maybe if I had to show someone one to kind of get into it, Episode 3. Yeah.
Yep. Dude, it has everything. It literally has everything. It has combat. It has comedy. It has a love story. It has not knowing what's going to happen. It has... The only thing it doesn't have is horror. I can't really think of a moment that's kind of scary.
Grievous is maybe some instances. Or you could say Order 66 is kind of like, in a way, like, it's horrific.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Point. It's gruesome.
So we do. We have literally a little bit of everything.
And we do have, like, Palpatine turning into, like, the... You know, you have some elements there.
You have magic. You have swords. You have love.
If you have to do one, you do episode 3.
This is Star Wars.
Okay. And I think this one had a big a send-off, too, for the series. I think this one really did the prequel series justice. The content was amazing. So we've always talked about, like, the toys in the background. I think Revenge of the Sith had some of the, like, the neatest stuff. Best video games. Like, that game was just... That PS2 game was so much fun. It's just fantastic. Just all around.
I wanna say one thing before we end it here. Make sure you leave in the comments which movie you would show your person, or if you have shown someone Star Wars, which movie did you start with? And then... What
was their reaction to it?
We had a couple debates in this podcast. I want to hear all of your sides to the debate. So make sure you leave those in the comments as well.
You know, I think that's a great question. What would you... If you had to show someone one Star Wars movie, what would it be and why?
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, if you have done it, what was the response? What was the... Were you able to get people to continue to watch more?
Exactly.
You know, did you find yourself maybe having to explain a lot, or did they, like, pick up from, you know, just, hey, okay, I can get the relationships of these characters. I can pick up what's going on. Like, you know, was that it? And, you know, I think we're going to take some time here to figure out what our next step is, because, you know, like this, there's a big jump into the next set of, you know, movies.
Yeah.
You know, we got a 20-year time gap. We got a lot of stuff in between, but
definitely.
We're looking at just the movies. We've got some time. So
yeah. Well, on that note, subscribe for a chance to enter to win a lightsaber.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a raffle.
Yep. And we're going to be giving away a lightsaber. So hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Till next time.